Tonight on KVR News, an election update for student government,
26 West flooding displaces students,
and Tower Girl gets her own live stream.
You're watching KVR News, your leader for live, local UT coverage.
Broadcasting live from the Texas Student Television Studios at the University of Texas. You're watching KVR News at 9, Austin's leader for live local UT coverage. Your news starts right now.
Good evening and welcome back to KVR News for Monday, March 5th. I'm Bailey Wang.
And I'm Benjamin Cohen. Thank you for joining us for another episode.
UT students could be re-voting for their next student body president and vice president after several twists and turns in the election process. Students first cast their votes last week, and candidates Colton and Miraz were named winners. But confusion started to swirl as the Student Government Supreme Court rolled out the election results. Part of that decision was because the Ganees Hanna ticket was banned from campaigning on Election Day due to what was noted as deceptive campaigning. The Supreme Court's decision still needs verification from the Dean of Students. KVR News reached out to both leading campaigns, but only one responded.
I think that we were all a little taken aback. I think that we were feeling that a runoff was on the horizon.
We didn't find ESP's decision of the moratorium fair because it seemed like an overreaching decision based off of what we had done.
Yes, it was an unprecedented decision that we don't think was right, which is why we appealed it.
I'm shook.
Yeah, it was a big surprise.
Yeah, we were surprised to hear that the election was happening again. In terms of the election results changing, I think at the very least we will get into a runoff now because there's so many things we planned out for the last day in terms of messaging people, content we were getting out, a lot of like big things that were supposed to happen that last day that we weren't able to do. Right. That would have definitely gotten us to the runoff. So I think the election will change in that way.
I mean, we're back and we're ready. I think that
We asked students for their thoughts on this year's student government election.
Glad that the student government is doing the recount because I think that if there was some sort of scandal or foul play going on, that all the candidates deserve a fair chance.
I did not vote in the elections, but mostly just out of not really knowing who any of the candidates were. But I am hearing of a revote because of some interferences with the election, so if I were able to revote.
Seems like the unconstitutional rulings is fine, it's whatever. The other person, Colton and Miraz, won outright, even though there were 6 other people running, so it seems like they're possible.
Immigrants and advocates alike are determined to keep DACA recipients high on the minds of lawmakers. They protested across the state and country today when deferred action for childhood arrivals should have expired. President Trump announced back in September that the program would end, but 2 judges have ruled to continue since then. There is no word yet on when Congress will decide what the status for the so-called Dreamers will be. Students affected by the flooding at apartment complex 26 West can receive assistance from the Dean of Students. Students were pushed out of their rooms due to a pipe burst causing 8 inches of water. Water from the 2nd story rushed out of the apartment complex and multiple rooms. The 26 West management team placed affected students in hotels as they work to dry out the complex. Students are also being offered meals and laundry services. Our reporter Emma Denard talked to students affected by the flooding.
It's kind of scary to think that it could have happened to me or it could have happened to anybody. I'm very glad it didn't happen to me, but it's also like it kind of puts me on edge because it could happen to anyone.
So if anything right now, it's just been really inconvenient. 2 of the main entrances are, actually 3 of the entrances are closed. So it's like a longer walk to get to our rooms. The mailroom's closed, the gym's root lab flooded.
UT and multiple companies have been contacted to provide assistance to the building and students affected. Students needing help can call Student Emergency Services at 512-471-5555 5017.
3 seniors at the Liberal Arts and Science Academy in Austin are organizing the Austin March for Our Lives. The march hopes to bring about gun reform following the recent Parkland shooting and will take place March 24th alongside the flagship march in Washington, D.C. Austin Mayor Steve Adler will be speaking at the event, as well as State Representative Gina Hinojosa and Jack Heimowitz, a Stoneman Douglas shooting survivor and future UT student.
Shots were fired at Texas State University outside of a dorm early Sunday morning. A bullet hit a window of Angelina Hall. The Texas State Police took one suspect into custody and reported that it was not a student. No one was harmed during the incident, and Texas State Police reported after that there was no immediate danger to campus. After the recent shootings in Parkland, some businesses are choosing to increase the age to buy firearms to 21. Dick's Sporting Goods said that they would instantly stop selling assault-style rifles. Walmart will no longer sell ammunition for assault-style rifles to people under 21, and LL Bean and Fred Meyer stores will no longer be selling guns or ammunition to people under 21. Under federal law, it is legal to sell rifles to people age 18 or older. We wanted to see what students thought about this policy change.
When you're 21, you're more able to make the right decisions, and you're more mature, you're more of an adult.
It's a good thing to have restrictions, I think. We don't have to take away the Second Amendment, but it's a good thing to definitely have restrictions on ages to buy guns, and it's important to teach people responsibility when handling weapons.
There's not a real difference between 18 and 21. I think these companies really need to take in consideration the science behind it, as opposed to just rushing because of political or public pressure.
In a meeting with lawmakers, President Trump told Congress members to not be afraid of the NRA when passing legislation to protect schools. The president said that he wants to get guns out of the hands of those who are considered dangerous before they get the chance to defend themselves in court. The president is calling for lawmakers to pass a comprehensive bill that will expand background checks and raise the age limit to buy a gun to 21. The NRA says it opposes changing the age limit. Around 100 Austinites gathered at the state capitol for the second March for Trump. Texans United for America organized the event. The march is designed to show solidarity for conservatives and President Trump, who many supporters think faces criticism in the media. APD says one person was arrested for assault.
A Texas Wesleyan University baseball coach emailed a high school recruit saying he could not play on the team because he was from Colorado. Aurora, Colorado high school senior Gavin Bell received an email from TWU coach Mike Jeffcoat saying students from Colorado usually fail their drug tests. The coach continued to say that because of this, he was not going to take a chance from an athlete from that state, where marijuana is legal. After the email went viral, the Texas Wesleyan president said that the university will stand by their non-discrimination policy, and the coach does not represent the values of the university. Jeffcoat, a former Texas Rangers pitcher, was fired on March 1st.
The Texas Ethics Commission is cracking down on the state law that requires agencies to tell prosecutors when someone fails to file campaign finance records. These forms let the public know how a candidate earns his money, who they are being funded by, and how that money is being spent. An analysis with years' worth of filings found that lawmakers and lobbyists owe up to $1.3 million in ethics fines. Under Texas law, many can face criminal charges for not filing personal financial statements and campaign finance records in a timely manner.
Texas celebrated its 182nd Independence Day on Saturday. Hundreds of people lined up on Congress Avenue to show off their annual Texas Pride at the Texas Independence Day Parade. Local high school bands along with UT students marched to the Texas State Capitol in honor of Texas's independence from Mexico on March 2, 1836. An arrest was made during the parade due to a fight that broke out as protesters clashed with a group honoring Confederate veterans. The fight was broken up quickly and the festivities continued.
After 8 years of living on campus, UT's Tower Girl can finally be seen by the public through an online live stream. The peregrine falcon, who found her home at the top of the tower, is unable to migrate due to a previous injury and recently found a possible mate. The university hopes that once she lays her eggs, the public will be able to see them in the nest through this new service launched by UT's Biodiversity Center.
Coming up on KVR News.
Students talk primary elections.
And Fasten's last ride.
Back with more news.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
Welcome back to KVR News. The early primaries for midterm elections ended on Friday with high voter turnout. In Travis County, 83,000 voters went to the polls, twice the amount compared to the 2014 midterm elections. Democrats lead the way with 62,000 voters and Republicans with 21,000. KVR went out and asked students what they thought about this year's primaries.
So I think, especially with gun control and things like that, people are really focused on getting the people they wanted voted out of office, or getting the people they want voted in, getting other people voted out, so that their legislation gets across. And I think that's particularly Democrats this year.
But I think the Democrats think that the younger people identify more with their platform and their goals, and so I think that it's easier for the Democrats to reach out to that demographic and push them to vote. I think they've done a good job of that.
There's a couple of candidates who've had just major players either come out against them or for them on both sides, and so it's going to be interesting to see if the kind of more establishment candidates or those who have more formal backgrounds are able to avoid being upset in a runoff or anything like that.
Voter turnout has increased a lot. I still think it's really important to have more people participate in government, because you can even see in some of the districts there was only one Republican or one Democrat running, and that just kind of limits the options for the people there. So
The official voting day for Texas primaries is tomorrow. Voting begins at 7 a.m. and will stay open until 7 p.m. But to make sure who you know is running, let's meet the candidates. Republican Senator Ted Cruz is up for re-election and leading in the polls, while Congressman Beto O'Rourke hopes to challenge Cruz for the Democrats. For governor, incumbent Craig Abbott is seeking re-election, while Democrats Andrew White and Lupe Valdez battle over who will face the Republican candidate in the fall. Getting a little more closer to home, there are 3 major congressional districts that run through the heart of UT. In Congressional District 35, Democratic incumbent Lloyd Doggett stands unopposed, while David Smalling and Cheryl Alexander are running as Republicans. In District 10, Republican incumbent Michael McCall is facing John Cook, and 7 Democrats are fighting to see who will be on top. In District 25, Republican incumbent Roger Williams does not have an opponent, but 5 Democrats are running to see who will be on the ballot in November.
A new report shows APD's efforts to combat racial profiling. Chief of Police Brian Manley said in a memo that in 2017, all of APD's officers completed a fair and impartial police program. The department also updated its policies to comply with the Sandra Bland Act. Police stops remained basically the same among Black and Hispanic Austinites since 2016. An investigation in 2015 revealed APD was intentionally skewing data. There are new provisions and guidelines to ensure 2017's data was accurately following new state laws. Multiple agencies are investigating how an explosive device ended up on a man's porch in Northeast Austin and caused his death. Austin Police Chief Brian Manley says the department received a call where they found a man with critical injuries at home. Medical services rushed the man to the hospital, where he later died of his injuries. Police believe that this incident was isolated and not linked to terrorism.
The rideshare app Fasten announced on Friday it will be shutting down operations in both its Austin and Boston locations. The announcement comes in light of a shift in demand, with services like Uber and Lyft returning to Austin. This isn't the first ride-sharing app to close. Fare ended its services back in June after they noticed a large drop in customers. Fasten will give its last ride tonight at midnight. UT welcomed employers, service providers, food vendors, and apartment complexes to the UT Marketplace. The semesterly event allows students to meet employers, explore apartment buildings, and learn more about companies in the Austin area. This semester's event featured more than 40 vendors, giving students the opportunity to take home a lot of free merchandise. But don't worry, if you missed this semester's Marketplace, there's always next semester.
Austin welcomed a new Asian supermarket yesterday. 99 Ranch Market is located in Highland Village on Airport Boulevard. The supermarket features a food hall, Asian produce, frozen food, meats, and more. 99 Ranch's debut comes a few weeks after H Mart's, another Asian supermarket in Austin. Amplify Austin has raised more than $10.3 million for nonprofit organizations in the Austin area. Amplify Austin encourages Austinites to take action and make a difference in their community. To learn more about Amplify Austin, you can visit ilivehereigivehere.org. So this is our last show before spring break comes up. So
It is
Ben, do you
indeed.
have any big spring break plans or anything?
I think I'm just going to be spending spring break, hanging out, going to their Houston rodeo.
Oh, that's fun.
I know.
Really?
Super
So
cool.
no beach, no sun?
Nope,
anything
it's starting
like
to get
that?
warm outside,
I
so.
know, yeah, that is true. So, all right, well, let's see what Mercedes has for us in the Weather Center. Mercedes?
Thanks, Bailey and Benjamin. This week's weather has a mix of sunshine and low chances of rain, just in time for spring break. I'll have more when we get back. Stay tuned.
Have a news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News Tip Line, 475-8181.
Welcome back to KVR News. Today was such a nice break from the changing weather we've been experiencing. It was partly sunny with a high of 74 degrees. Tonight will be 48 degrees with partly cloudy conditions. Tuesday will be sunny with a high of 71 and a low of 43 degrees. Wednesday will also be sunny, but with cooler temperatures. There will be a high of 62 degrees and a low of 40. Thursday will be in the high 60s and low 40s. Friday has a 20% chance of rain with a high in the 70s and lows in the 60s. Saturday is the start of spring break, and we have good news, Longhorns. We will get warm again with a high in the 80s and low in the 50s. Sunday has a high in the 70s and a low in the 40s. After all those random cold days, we will finally be warm again just in time for spring break. Live in the Weather Center, Mercedes Gonzalez, KVR News.
Back with sports.
Now, KVR News at 9 Sports.
With us to talk all things Texas sports tonight is Nicholas Koholtz. Nicholas, Texas basketball had a very big win on Saturday over West Virginia here in Austin.
That's right, with their tournament chances on the line, Texas pulled out a gutsy victory against the West Virginia Mountaineers. Let's take a look at the highlights. The Horns came in desperate for a victory against West Virginia, but the Mountaineers started off hot. So Gab Konate hits the hook shot, increasing the lead early on. Actually, we got the Texas women's highlights against Oklahoma instead, or against the men's instead from a couple weeks ago. We'll see if we can get the West Virginia highlights pulled up in a second. Instead, Dylan Osakowski throws down the jam, and Matt Coleman at the end hits the layup to increase the Texas lead to 14. Later on, Texas up 11. Trae Young doing what he can to keep Oklahoma in the game, but Texas would prove too much and pull out the victory against OU, 77-66.
So who stepped up for Texas on Saturday to help pull out this win?
Well, against West Virginia, Jericho Sims was the guy who stepped in place for Mo Bamba, who was out with a toe injury. And Bamba's the best player on this team, so Shaka Smart and the Texas team losing him was massive. But Jericho Sims came in 17 points off 6 or 7 shooting, 8 rebounds to go along with that. The true freshman had an incredible game.
Wow. So after this win, is Texas now on a lock to make the NCAA tournament?
I won't say a lock, just because you never know with the NCAA selection committee. They do have a 98% chance to make it. So we'll see. Imagine, as long as they don't lose to West Virginia, or pardon me, Iowa State on Wednesday, even if they do, I think they're still in, but if they win, that solidifies them, and that is a lock for Texas to make the NCAA tournament.
Well, moving on from basketball to diving, Luke Hendry caught up with record-setting diver Jordan Windhill. Thanks, Nicholas. Now let's head over to Grace Ann and see what's new in Hollywood. Grace Ann?
Thanks, Bailey. Tonight we will be talking about the results of this year's Oscars, the anti-gun violence pins worn by many stars at the Academy Awards, and limited edition H-E-B bags featuring Selena. We'll be right back with your entertainment news.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
Welcome back to KVR News. Jimmy Kimmel hosted the 19th Academy Awards, delivering a pointed monologue addressing Harvey Weinstein, the Me Too movement, Time's Up, and the work Hollywood has done to change the cultural harassment and assault. The Shape of Water took home the highest honor and the most wins last night. While accepting the Oscar for Best Actress for her role in 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Frances McDormand delivers a powerful speech where she asks all the female nominees to stand up to be acknowledged. Gary Oldman received his first Oscar win for his role in The Darkest Hour. Stars wore orange anti-gun violence pins at the 2018 Oscars last night. This statement comes after the #MeToo movement at the Golden Globes, where all the stars wore black. Celebrities did not wear black last night, but they did walk the red carpet with a pop of orange. The pins support the nonprofit organization Every Town for Gun Safety, which pushes for stricter gun control. This want for stronger gun control comes after the shooting at Parkland High School in Florida, which killed 17 people. Shoppers buying limited edition Selena bags sent H-E-B stores in a frenzy. H-E-B's website experienced a temporary shutdown. Lines stretched across all stores, and the $2 bags sold out within hours of their release. H-E-B says they've partnered with the Selena Foundation to honor the late Taino songstress.
Thanks, Grace Ann, and thank you for tuning in.
Make sure to follow us for news updates throughout the break. You can follow us on Twitter at KVR News and like us on Facebook. I'm Benjamin Cohen.
And I'm Bailey Wang. Stay tuned for College Press Box up next on Texas Student Television. Have a great week.